I'm about to debunk one of the most ridiculous hoaxes the internet has ever served up, the Pacific Northwest Tree Octopus. If you haven't heard of this, it's basically the internet equivalent of someone telling you there's a unicorn in your backyard. So what is this mysterious, tree-dwelling octopus that some people still believe is real? Some years back, a site called zapatopi.net, which sounds suspiciously like a place that sells magic beans, but I digress, introduced the world to the Pacific Northwest Tree Octopus. According to this site, these octopuses were not only living in the Pacific Northwest, a region already known for having cool creatures, but were living in trees. You read that right, trees. The website went on to claim these octopuses had somehow adapted to climbing trees, living in the dense forests of Washington state, and they even said they had a conservation status. A rare species, on the brink of extinction. So the internet went gaga with the whole Save the Pacific Northwest Tree Octopus thing. Lots of people shared the post on social media, warning about a special kind of octopus whose life is endangered. But here's the twist, the entire thing was made up. Like a well-crafted prank pulled off by a very clever humor writer. In reality, octopuses are marine animals, you know, sea creatures. And they are definitely not tree climbers. But it was a classic case of the internet going full. If you build it, they will believe it. Look, I get it. The internet was still pretty wild back then, and it was easy to get taken in by a funny, professionally designed website. It even had pictures, probably photoshopped, of these supposed tree-dwelling octopuses hanging out on tree branches, their tentacles wrapped around pine needles like some sort of cephalopod ninja. It was pretty convincing for people who didn't stop to question the biology of it all. But here's the kicker, this was a satirical website. It was designed to make people think critically about how easily misinformation could spread, especially when it had all the trappings of a real, scientific discovery. It was social commentary disguised as a nature doc, which is both brilliant and a little bit evil at the same time. You probably already guessed it, but Snopes, the internet's go-to fact-checking resource, was quick to debunk the whole thing. In fact, they labeled it as a hoax pretty early on. They even wrote a whole article about it, pointing out that while the Tree Octopus website was amusing, it was just that, amusing, not real. The hoax was an example of how easily absurd information can spread, especially when it's packaged with the right visuals and language. In short, don't believe everything you read on the internet. If there's a site claiming an octopus lives in trees, take a step back, do a little research, and definitely don't start looking for one in your backyard. Why did people still believe it? Honestly, the more ridiculous a story is, the more people sometimes want to believe it. It's like a game of telephone on steroids. What starts as a quirky tale quickly morphs into something that feels real because so many people repeat it. Add in a dash of humor, a sprinkle of fake authority, and voila! You've got yourself a viral hoax. Plus, in a time when the internet was just starting to go mainstream, people were still figuring out how to tell what's true from what's fake. So the idea of a mysterious, tree-dwelling octopus seemed, well, possible. If there's one thing the internet does well, it's convincing us that bizarre things are real. Despite the fact that the Pacific Northwest Tree Octopus is, and always has been, a hoax, it still pops up occasionally in discussions online. People reference it as an example of how internet hoaxes can spread, and how even the most outlandish stories can get a surprising amount of traction. So, if you ever come across someone claiming to have seen the tree octopus, here's your chance to be the real expert. You can confidently tell them, nice try, but that's a hoax, my friend. The only octopuses around here are in the ocean, not the trees, and for good measure, feel free to direct them to this video.